everybody. Welcome back. The 40 Days of Love, the Love Dare Challenge. We outside, y'all. Alrighty. Grab your books. Tonight's going to be one of those easy nights because we've already pre-chatted some of this. So it should not be anything new. But grab your books. We're going to talk about homework, see how we did. Prayerfully, we did well. We'll see. All right. Now, 40 Days of Love. We're on day 7. So today is day number 7. And we're prepping for day 8, which will be tomorrow. So let's go back and look at day number 7's dare. So for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, my name is Shakima. I'm a pastor. First Love Ministries with Shakima Wilson is a ministry that the Lord gifted me with and allows me to facilitate. And I've been doing this now for 10 years, 11 years. This year will be 11. It's 2025. So it will be 11 years. And I'm very thankful to be able to do what I do. About 3 years ago, hey, ma'am, how are you? Let me know where you're chiming in from. Thank you so much for joining me. I see all of my Instagramonians. Very good. It's good to see you guys. I hope you're getting something out of the series. If you have gained anything that has been beneficial or helpful, would you drop that in the chat? It just helps me to know, honestly, if I'm doing a good job, if it's making any changes, if it's making any difference in your life. Remember that the dare is for your spouse, but it's changing you. Oh, thank you so much. We're in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, friend. Hey, girl. But more than we're looking to change our spouse, what we are doing is we're allowing the Lord to change us as we dare them, as we go through all the challenges every single day, as we make adjustments in our attitude, as we make adjustments in our behavior. I'm also from Charlotte. Okay, very good. I used to live in Kannapolis. Very good. And I worked in Concord. Very nice. So there's a book that I'm reading. It's called Becoming the Woman I Want to Be. And one of the portions of that book talks about our attitude. And a lot of us, we need attitude adjustments where our spouses are concerned. Some of us have gotten very comfortable. Some of us have gotten very lax with our spouse. We've been in this thing for quite a long time. We know them like nobody else knows them. And so it just becomes normal, right? But I don't think that your marriage has to be normal. I think it can be extraordinary. I think you can be on a perpetual honeymoon. I think that it's between you and your spouse exactly what you want it to be. And I think a lot of times, I'm not sure how dating is right now because I'm not dating. I would love to be, but I'm not. But I don't want to date crazy. Now listen, here's the thing. I'm too old for games. If you call me, I'm going to answer my phone. If you tell me to call you, I'm going to call. If we're getting together, I'm going to be ready when you show up, or if we're meeting or what, whatever these games are, I just don't have time for that. Cause I'm going to be as my kids would say, Mom, you're almost a century. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that. But I think the same holds true in marriage. We do all the dating games, but then we never sit down and consider how we want our marriage to be. A lot of people are trying to manage the marriage after you get married. And I think you need to come to the table as to the two parties that are going to be in this thing forever. And I think you need to sit down and discuss. And I think you also need to have staff evaluations, right? You need to go back every so often and evaluate, hey, how did we do this year? Did we spend enough time? Did we invest in our marriage? Did we put everybody else out and really focused on us? Hey, you were in your season of doing your stuff. You went back to school. And so I was kind of taking care of the kids. Or, hey, you've been in school for quite a long time. Is there like an estimated time of graduation? Because I would really like to do some of the things I want to do. And I think we don't plan for that. And then when the problems crop up, we don't know how to handle them. Now, that's just my thought process. I'm not in your marriage and I don't know. Perhaps you have the most perfect marriage. I was listening to something today and I think, no, it wasn't. It was yesterday. I was watching this. I love investigation, crime, discovery, all that kind of stuff. And there was this gentleman who he was decreased. And the wife was saying, oh, we had hit a rough patch. I was working days, he was working nights, and we were just kind of ships passing each other. And that's a lot of marriages as well. In order to make the bills meet, the ends meet, and all the other things, he's got 3 child supports and she's got all this other stuff, and we trying to live like the Joneses, so everybody's got to work. And in order for that to happen, he's working 3 jobs and she working a job and a half, and then they got these kids. And so you're never able to sit, you're never able to see, you're never able to communicate. At best, you getting it in real quick. So that's not even spending time together. I mean, who that at certain moments, that quick intimacy is nice, but there are days when I need more than that. And so does he. I need time. I need exploration. I need more than just these 5 minutes, because we both got something else to do. I need a weekend. I need a staycation. I need these kids to go to their grandmama house or something. We need to connect with each other. And a lot of times we don't do that, especially the longer you've been married. When you look at married couples that have been married 20 and 30 years and now they're just getting a divorce, more times than not, they didn't focus on each other. They had kids to raise, bills to pay, jobs to work, and they got married because it was the thing to do, or somebody got pregnant, or whatever the case was. And so now we don't know each other, or we did okay, and I focused a lot on the kids. And then when the kids left, I didn't really know my spouse because I gave them no time, no effort, no energy. And so I want to help us think before we start stepping into these issues and problems. Children, as much as we love them, I love my kids to the moon and back. I love my new son-in-law to the moon and back. But children do not trump your marriage. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what Dr. Spock and his cousin, I don't care what book you read. The Bible says that you and your spouse created a covenant and you both became one, and everybody else is outside of that circle. It doesn't mean we forsake our children, but what it doesn't mean also is that we forsake our spouse when we have little kids. I heard somebody say, my kids are in their formative years, they really need me. They need both of y'all. If there are 2 parents in the household, they need both of y'all. They don't need to esteem one parent over the other. We might have different roles. I could be the mom who does all the dropping off and all the things, but on nights and weekends and Saturdays, I need daddy out there throwing the ball and going to t-ball practice. I mean, everybody needs to be esteemed the same. But there are moments when you got to put your kids down and you have to say, you need to, we gonna be all right, but me and dad got to spend some time, or put them kids to bed. There's a certain time that kids need to be in bed. 8 o'clock is a good enough number. Is a great number for little people, for sure. 9:30, everybody should be going to bed. I'm trying to get in there at 9:30. And then those moments while we may not be sleeping from the day, this is where we catch up. This is where we commune with each other. This is where I hear about your day and you hear about my day. But we're so tired and we're so frustrated with life and with things that when we go to bed, the first thing we want to do is go to sleep. We are worn out. Here's why. You're trying to live in a neighborhood that you can't afford. I'm not trying to call nobody out, but it is the truth. The way the economy is right now, a lot of us are house poor. All we're doing is working to pay for our house. Consider downsizing, moving to a cheaper place. I don't know what you got to do, but I value my marriage more than I value the stuff. I'm not a stuff person. Maybe that's just my personality, but I'm not a stuff person. I don't need all of the things. I need you. And at the end of the day, if you have all the things, but you don't have your spouse that you covenanted till death do you part, and rich and poor and good and bad and sickness and health and all the things, but everything has crowded out. And now you find yourself in a situation. I have chatted. Thank you so much for joining me. If you would, please put in the chat who's here so I'll know. Do a favor, like the video, share this video, hit share right now. Do it right now. Most of us know somebody or somebody's multiples that have issues in their marriage. And maybe every night is not something for them, but there's got to be something that we've chatted about, something we've read about, something we've talked about that could help somebody else. So would you not be selfish? Let's be kind to our co-workers, our neighbors, our family members who are struggling in their maritals, and share the video. My heart is for God's people. It really is. Even when God's people aren't for, or even when people aren't for me, my heart is towards people. And I want to see marriage at such a high level of success rate. And I believe God for it. I believe that when you get the husband and wife together, that only leads to getting the family together, which leads to getting the community together. And when you get the community together, you can make outward change. But it will never happen if we're always fighting with each other. It will never happen if I hear one more couple are getting divorced. I was on TikTok again today, just scrolling through. I was posting something. Hey, Miss Norma. I was posting something on TikTok, and while I wait for my post to go through, I see other things coming through, and I saw this another guy. I don't know who these people are because I don't follow anybody. I'm following 0 people on TikTok. But he was like, "Yeah, we're getting a divorce." That's another one. It's just we're just racking them up one by one by one. You could name them. Some of our favorite movie stars and role models. They've been married 3 and 4 and 5 times. What is wrong with you people? Why is it not working out the first time? Because I want what I want when I want it. And if you're not doing what I want when I want it, then I'm gonna get somebody else that will. And then it's a new toy, it's shiny, and we like to play with it. And it lasts for about 3 months, 3 years, whatever. But there's no longevity in it, because as soon as something goes wrong, as soon as you're not doing what I want you to do, living how I want you to live, doing what I say, as soon as you're not doing that, then I am dissatisfied and I am gone. Where are the people with stick-to-itiveness that says, hey, I really meant those vows when I took them, and I plan to stay married to you forever? Lest the Lord say different. And here's the thing. I think I heard, oh God, Run DMC, right? No worries, Miss Norma, it's perfect. Run DMC, his wife is Justine. Is it Justine? What's her name? I think it's Justine. Whatever. His wife, I can't remember her name now. I swear I used to watch those people back in the day. But she was saying, and I felt her in this. She said, I love Joey so much. She calls him Joey. She says, I love Joey so much that I don't know that I could live without him. She says, I've even asked the Lord, if you take Joey, take me at the same time. Now, I'm not saying God is listening to that and he's going to honor her request, but her heart is not to be without this man. We've been through it all. I was with him when he wasn't nobody. I've been with him when he was somebody. I'm still with him when the Lord brought him out of that into something else. We have raised kids. We've been through all the things, and we are still together. And I am telling you that I love this man so much that I can't see a life without him. Where are those marriages? Because those are the marriages that we should be patterning ourselves after, the ones who really meant in good and bad and rich and poor and sickness and health and all of the things, and 3 baby mamas and 4 child supports and all, because you get whatever they got when you get them. So where are those marriages? Or are we the ones to now become those marriages? I want to be that marriage. Well, Shakima, you're not married. Well, not yet, but it won't be long. I believe that thing with my entire spirit. It won't be long. Moving forward. All right. So back to today. Today's dare for day 7 was get 2 sheets of paper. On the first one, you're going to spend a few minutes writing out the positive things about your spouse. Then on the second sheet, you were going to write out all the negative things. And remember, I told you might have to be adding sheets here, okay? Write down the things. And then what you're going to do is, or what you were supposed to do, was you were going to put those in a separate place. Just put them away somewhere because you're going to need them again. Okay? How many people were able to get your dare done today? Did anybody get it done? Anybody? Now, here's the thing. Remember what I said yesterday and many, many days. I can't care more about your marriage than you. You have to buy in. You have to put your best foot forward, even if that person does not respond. They don't have to reciprocate. Right now, we're not looking for reciprocation. We're just looking for dedication on your part. How about that? Thank you, Holy Spirit. We're not looking for reciprocation at this moment. If we see it, that's very good. However, what I'm looking for is dedication on my part to keep doing the things to see this thing out. We're on 7 days. We got 33 more days to go. And some of us don't know if we're going to make it. We couldn't even get past day one without saying anything negative to our spouse. There has to be some adjustments in our life. If all I know how to do is tear my spouse down, then I need to get on the altar and ask God, can you please show me how to love this person like you love them? Because right now I don't love them or like them. But you made a commitment. Well, Shakima, I didn't know what I was thinking. I shouldn't have married them. Yeah, well, too late now. We in this thing. So you either gonna have to learn. Now that's barring there's anything going on that would keep you from that. If there's any type of danger that you might be in, get out of that immediately. But some of us give up way too quick. All right, I'm gonna move forward because we're into day 8. Day 8, right? That's tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 8. We always prep the night before for the next day so you can start and be ready. Tomorrow is day 8, which is love is not jealous. Tomorrow is an allowing day. We're going to allow them to be great. We're going to allow our spouse to have their moment. We're going to allow them to gain the applause. We are going to allow them to exercise their best gift because we're going to be their best cheerleader tomorrow and every other day after that. We've talked about this before. If anybody else is cheering for your spouse louder than you, eventually they will become the captain of his cheer squad. If anybody, there will be 0 people, hear me by the Holy Ghost, 0 people who will applaud my husband more than me. And I'm not saying he might not get no applause. That just means I got to out scream them. I got to out applause them. I got to be the one who's doing honey, I'm doing backflips for this man because that's my boo. But if any other woman is cheering louder than you, if any other man is cheering louder than you, you will be replaced. You will be replaced. We are all replaceable until we become irreplaceable. That man needs to know, that woman needs to know, you know what? You cute and all that, and your body is nice and all that. But what I got at home, I can't replace. Listen, if I lose this one, this a rider right here. She a real one. God did his big one when he gave me this, because it doesn't matter what I brought to her. She is stuck with me through thick and thin. She has been with me when we didn't have nothing, when we was sleeping on the floor. We didn't even have a box spring. We was on the mattress and we was in love. She was with me. So as much as you looking nice with your new wig and your contour and your bodycon dress, because I mean, that's what we doing these days. I know what I have at home. We have to become so irreplaceable that they wouldn't even think about it. Now, they do have to love the Lord for that, right? Your heart has to be in the right place with God to give you that love for people. And so we pray that. All right. Day 8 is an allowing day. Now, I hope that everybody went and did your marriage evaluation. If you did the marriage evaluation and you printed it out or either snapped some pictures so that you could kind of see the days broken down, tomorrow is an allowing day. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 6 in the NIV says, love is as strong as death. Its jealousy unyielding as the grave. It burns like a blazing fire. Is your love that way? Can you describe how you feel about your spouse in those terms? I would tell you, when I was married to my husband, probably, I would say just about the whole time, I'm sure all 18 years, I loved that man more than air. He was the next breath I breathed. I needed to be with my husband all the time. I just loved him so very much. There were moments I didn't like him, and there were days he didn't like me, and I get that. But I loved my husband. We didn't always get along. We didn't always see eye to eye, but I loved him. But the Bible is very clear, and I will never tell you that God took my marriage. I know we shouldn't have been married in the first place. But the word says, thou shalt have no other gods before me, for I am a jealous God. And so here's the thing I tell my kids quite often: whatever you put in God's place, God will eventually get that thing out of its place. It cannot stay there. You will serve one God and one God only. And my husband, for me, was God. And eventually, he could not hold that place. And when I found God, or God found me, whichever happened, I knew that I had misplaced my husband. I put him in a spot that he wasn't able to fulfill. It's just like when we have young sons, and a lot of us try to make our sons our little husbands, right? Or we allow people to say, oh, you're the man of the house now. My sons have never been the men of this house, ever. And anybody who puts that pressure on your child to be the man of your house is going to have issues when the man shows up. When the man that you want shows up, he's going to have to now fight for his position because we have given that position to somebody else. That's why you have a lot of new husbands and older sons fighting each other, because you're now trying to usurp the role or the authority that was put on me as a kid. Who you think you is coming up in here? You ain't nobody. I'm the man of this house. And the man is looking at you like, have you lost all your good mind? I am a man. You're just a boy. So don't misassign people in your life. Don't make your spouse God, and don't make your sons the men of your house. My sons live here. They are welcome to be here, but they hold no role as the man of nothing. And my son, my oldest son, is 28 years old. He's the man of his house. He doesn't live here, because I don't want that smoke. Because now there's jealousies that shouldn't be there that I created if I do that. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay. Your source verses for tomorrow, source verses for tomorrow are Romans 12:15. Romans chapter 12, verse 15. And I'm going to read these, and then I'm going to jump into the study, and we're going to be done. For any of you who are looking for a ladies group, y'all need to join us for Titus 2 Women. We had an amazing meeting this morning. The ladies of Titus 2 are just so gracious and allow me to just teach them, and I'm just so thankful that they do. All right, Romans 12:15 says, celebrate with those who celebrate and weep with those who grieve. Celebrate with those who celebrate and weep with those who grieve. Genesis 2:18, one of my favorite verses. The Lord gave me Genesis 2:18 through 25 several years ago, and I've held on to those verses for a long time. Then Yahweh God said, it is not good for man to be alone. Therefore, I will fashion a suitable partner to be his help and his strength. Galatians 6:2. So in Genesis chapter 2, verses 18, God has now fashioned somebody to help the man. It's not good for him to be by himself. He does okay. You know, hey, listen, he's named all the animals. He's done all the things that I asked him to do. But I've noticed this is God chatting with himself and with Holy Spirit and probably Jesus at the same time. They just all having a little chitty chat. And he says, listen, I have noticed, though, that every creature has a partner. And he's the only one that doesn't really have somebody that's like him. He has me, of course, and he shouldn't need anything else because I am the fulfillment of all things. However, I think that it might be beneficial for me to give him somebody that looks like him, that acts like him, that walks like him, that can understand just like him. And here we have done none of that. So we should, right? We should do that for him, don't you think? That was the conversation. Okay. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 says, love empowers us to fulfill the law of the anointed one as we carry each other's troubles. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to be the shoulder to lean on when they need somebody. And they're supposed to be the shoulder we lean on when we need somebody. We're supposed to be able to lift each other, undergird each other, hold each other up. When you got problems, I got problems. When you have no problems, I don't got no problems. We all in this thing together. And then 2 Peter, this is your last verse, 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 and 4 says everything we could ever need. This is so good. It's my verse. Everything we could ever need for a life and godliness has already been deposited in us by his divine power. For all this was lavished upon us through the rich experience of knowing him who has called us by name and invited us to come to him through a glorious manifestation of his goodness. As a result of this, he has given you magnificent promises that beyond all price, so that through the power of these tremendous promises, we can experience partnership with the divine nature by which you have escaped the corrupt desires that are of this world. This is, we are allowing our spouse. We are extending grace. We are extending mercy. And I hear a lot of people say, I'm not forgiving them. They did me wrong. Well, how many times have we done God wrong and he has extended grace towards us? I mean, 100% honestly. On page 36, if you have your book, you can just kind of look through here. He says, jealousy is one of the strongest drives known to men. It comes from the root word zeal, which means to burn with an intense fire. The scripture pointedly says, wrath is fierce and anger is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy? That's Proverbs 27:4. He talks about two forms of jealousy, and I'm just going to hit those. You have legitimate jealousy and you have illegitimate jealousy. Legitimate jealousy is a husband is feeling some type of way because another man has caught his wife's attention. So much so that now she has alienated her affections from this person and she has given her love and attention to somebody else. She's having outer marital relations and she should not be. I feel a type of way. I love you. And here you are, you're going to go and do this on me. The same for a woman. She would feel the same way. I love you. I've given you everything. I've committed myself to this. And you slap me in the face and just go do what you want to do? How? How do you do that? That does cause an emotion. That causes something to rise in us where we might want to go out here and handle some business. Like, wait a minute. This is when you see a lot of this contention stuff between a husband, a wife, and if there's a third party. This is where you see all of that. That's a legitimate jealousy. You do not have the right to put your hands on anybody ever. But that emotion is real. I've given you everything I have. I've made sacrifices. I've given you my last name and my paycheck. And here you are, you out here doing this? Oh, that's real. And we feel that. We don't justify bad behavior, but we do feel that. So I'm not telling anybody to go do anything, but I'm telling you that's a real feeling. And we shouldn't want anybody to, I don't want to feel that. Why would I want to make somebody else feel it? But then he talks about illegitimate jealousy. And that comes from the root of selfishness. And selfishness seems to be kind of the common thread through some of the previous nights. It's that envy. It's that jealousy. It's my husband got a promotion at work and I didn't get a promotion. And so now he's home. He's happy. He done brought champagne. He done brought home the new check with the bonus on it. And I haven't had a bonus check in 3 years. Now I'm feeling a type of way instead of understanding that every good thing that he has is mine as well, because the two have become one. It's one of the things that I don't really like about divided finances. Because my money is my money and your money is your money. But whenever your money start looking better than my money, then I have an issue. Well, if we all just had common money, there would be no issue. All the money goes in the common pot and we do what we do. Or at the very least, we have a common household pot. Well, you got to pay the mortgage and I'm paying the light bill. I am putting my money in this pot. Pay what needs paying. Whatever you can squeeze out of this after you tithe, then you pay it. Why does my name have to be assigned or delineated to the mortgage? Stop doing that, because now we're like, oh, well, I'm 60% of the household and she's only 40. No, we all 100% all the time, but we're on the same team. We're not going to compete with each other. And jealousy will cause you to compete with your spouse. But I don't have that type of energy. Think about it like this. If any of you have been to a softball game, I have an uncle, my Uncle Peter, he played softball. I'm 48 years old. He probably been playing softball my whole life. He's in his late 70s. He's still playing softball. We praying for him. But imagine men play softball, women play softball as well. But even if you put me and him up against each other at 70, he can still hit the ball over the fence because there's a different power behind what he has than if I hit the ball. I'm trying to get on first base, y'all. Trying. I don't even think I ever hit a ball ever once. I might have hit it, but I don't know. But there's not even a fair comparison. He's got more power and strength than I do just because he's a man. Now, I'm not saying women are the weaker person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying by physical, anatomical, biological structure, men are much more strong on the whole than women are. And so because of that, I can't ever compete with a man. I just can't. Well, I'm the breadwinner of our family, and my husband's a stay-at-home husband. Very good. Whatever works at your house. But your husband may not be able to compete with your 4 degrees if he just graduated high school and he can't go back to school for anything else, or he never made it through school, or whatever the case is. So we're doing all of this comparison, and it's causing all these problems in the household. What I suggest is that whatever you have that's good, I'm going to celebrate that. And whatever I do that's good, you celebrate that. Because if I win, you win. That's the togetherness I'm trying to have. If I'm winning, you winning. If I'm on top, you on top. And I would hope that the spouse would say the same. That keeps the competition down. It keeps us from having envy and all of that. Okay. The Bible tells us, let me see. On 37, I'm just going to hit this very quickly. I've been talking a lot. Jealousy is a common struggle. It is sparked when someone else upstages or gets something you want. This can be very painful depending on how selfish you are. I remember, y'all pray for me. No, well, you don't have to pray now. It's been about 10 years ago, I think. I remember wanting to be married. I always thought that the Lord had marriage for me. I never thought that I should be single. I've always known and still know that the Lord has marriage for me. But everybody in our church, because we went to a church where there were so many couples, or there were people who were coupling, and everybody had somebody except myself and my sister, because it was just 2 of us single ladies at the time. And it was like, dang, what? So the music minister who I sing with, he had been overseas and he came. No, he didn't go overseas till they got married, but he had been dating this girl, and all of a sudden one Sunday in church, they start playing this video and having all the things. And I didn't even notice that her father was there at church. He doesn't attend our church. Her mother was there. And he proposed to her and asked her to marry him in church. And I remember sitting in that pew on that chair, and I looked up at the ceiling and I said out loud, y'all, loud, "Really, God? Really?" Y'all, I missed my moment to be happy for them. Because I was thinking about, I've been praying all this time, God. I've been serving you all this time. I've been dedicating my life to you all this time. And she gets a husband and I don't? Really? Thank God that I am healed and delivered and saved and all that. And the Lord forgave me for that. But envy can make you do some crazy stuff. I want what you have. But God has something different for me. So I don't want anything that anybody else has. I don't want your sloppy seconds. I don't want your used. I don't want nothing. I am waiting for what God has for me. But in the waiting, I'm doing better. I'm getting better. I'm doing all the things I want to do prior to marriage. If marriage is supposed to make me gain 15 pounds, I need to lose 15 before I can gain enough, because I can't gain 15 pounds. It just cannot happen. Not at my current stage. It cannot. And so I think about those types of things. It says, instead of congratulating them, you fume in anger and think ill of them. If you're not careful, jealousy slithers like a viper into your heart and strikes your motivation and relationships. It can poison you from living the life of love God intended. If you don't diffuse your anger by learning to love others, you may eventually begin plotting against them. The Bible tells us in James, where there is envy and strife, there is every evil work. Where there is envy and strife, because envy now leads to arguments. Arguments now leads to fights just lead to it all blowing up, and it's just a problem. Everything can happen now. This is the time when people are so frustrated at home, they start entertaining them water cooler conversations. And water cooler conversations, again, lead to work husbands. And work husbands lead to, oh, he filled up my gas tank so I didn't have to go outside in this snow. And then, oh, he did this and he brought me lunch on my lunch break. Oh, she brought me a plate from home because yesterday was Sunday and she cooked a big Sunday dinner. I mean, now you got all these problems. And the next thing you know, you at the Motel 6 having regret, but agreeing to go again. All the while, instead of being angry with your spouse for their whatever, congratulate. Let me celebrate you. I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader. Listen, we're going to have a party just because you did a good thing. I'm inviting all your friends over. We're going to celebrate this thing right. And I'm leading the charge on that. One of the things he says on 37 at the bottom says, you don't usually get jealous of disconnected strangers. The ones you're tempted to be jealous of are primarily in the same arena as you. People do the same work you do in your office. They play in the same league. They run in the same circles, or they live in your house. And that's a real thing. There are some husbands that have been jealous over their children, because the children, especially little babies, because those babies need the mom, especially if she's nursing, they need the mom so much in those first few months that the husband feels like he's now second class citizen. And now there's a jealousy between the husband and the baby. Or you have the wife who's jealous between the husband and his mom, because he spends so much time with her, treats her all this type of way and everything, and he doesn't treat you anything like that. And now there's an issue here. So we can have those inward jealousies in our home. And we have to make sure that we nip it in the bud. He talks about that cheerleader thing, which I'm very glad. On 38, he says, both of you become one in life and were to share in the enjoyment of the other. But if selfishness rules, any good thing happening to only one of you can be a catalyst for envy rather than congratulations. Here's the thing. This is the last thing I want to say, then we're going to there. Because love is not selfish and puts others first, it refuses to let jealousy in. You have to, I have to, we have to make a conscious decision that says, I refuse to be jealous of my spouse, no matter what happens to them, because what happens to them is ultimately happening to me, because we are one. If he goes up, I go up. If he win, I win. If I get a promotion, he promoted. I didn't get this doctorate's degree by myself. I got this doctorate's degree because you was keeping them kids at night so I could write this dissertation. So when I get my diploma or my whatever it is, and I'm giving my thank you speech, you the first person I thank after I thank God. I want to thank the Lord because he helped me do this. But I also want to thank my husband. I want to thank my wife for the countless hours. How many doctors in that first year residency where you don't get paid have depended on your spouse to make the money to pay the bills just because she was trying to help you get your dream? I want to thank, first of all, I like to thank the academy. I want to thank the academy at my house. These are the people. It leads you to celebrate the successes of your spouse rather than resenting them. A loving husband doesn't mind his wife being better at something, having more fun, or getting more applause. He sees her as completing him, not competing with him. I know that was an issue in my marriage. I have a college degree. My husband did not have a college degree at the time. He was 12 hours from graduating and dropped out of college. He had 12 credit hours to finish 4 classes and dropped out of college. That was his choice, not my choice. I finished, I graduated, and I would go to these big meetings. I would have all kinds of meetings, and I served on the committees and executive boards and all that. I was the recording secretary for 11 years. And we would have like socials after. And I would always invite my husband, but he never felt welcome. He always felt like he always felt so bad because he didn't have a college degree. This is not what this is. I am proud of you, whatever. I want you to be with me. I don't care what job you do. That's not relevant, or I wouldn't have married you. But he could never see that the success was ours. Yes, I was on the board. Yes, I was being recognized. But me going on those trips, it helped us to get a vacation. Because I'm in the mountains in the fall and in the beach in the spring. And I can take a guest and you can come. And we didn't have to pay for any of it. And he could never see it. There was always this competitiveness. I would get a bonus and he'd say, well, I don't want to spend your money. This is our money. How does it become my money? Yes, I work for it, but everything I have is yours. And so are we at that place? I'm not competing with anybody. I may not make as much as you, but I do bring value. I add value here. This is what I have. Use it for the good of the family, and that's it. Okay. All right. Here's your dare for tomorrow, if you are willing. Day 8. Determined to become your spouse's biggest fan and to reject any thoughts of jealousy. You have to make that determination in your mind. You have to do it, and only you can. I can lead you through the study, but I can't make you make a decision. To help you set your heart on your spouse and focus on their achievement, take yesterday's list of negative attributes and discreetly burn it. Then share with your spouse how glad you are about a success or a blessing he or she recently enjoyed. And when you are done, check the box. So that's tomorrow's dare. All the negatives that you wrote down, and I'm sure there are a plenty, you are going to discreetly just be done with all of that. And you are then going to go to your spouse and say, congratulations, I'm so proud of you. I mean, it means something for me to say, good job, congratulations. But when the person that they're most intimate with comes to them and says, I'm so proud of you, that hits different. And that the words that people say, that hits different when other people say it versus my spouse saying it. This person's been with me when I've cried. I know Shamika's my daughter's going through her, she's writing her dissertation now. She will graduate next year with her doctorate's degree. Her and Jackson will graduate together. He'll graduate high school. She'll graduate with her doctorate's degree. And her husband has been there with her the whole time. She's had tears. She's had snot. She's had bad things happen at work. She's had things, just all kinds of stuff. And he's been there the whole time. I've been there, but he really been in the trenches. I live all the way across the country. He been there every single day. As much as she wants to thank mom for being there, she better thank Keith. He's cooked dinners when she didn't have no energy. He's taken the dogs out just so she could have peace and quiet in the house. He's done all the things. And she's the same for him when he was finishing up his master's. She's going to have a doctorate's degree. He only has a master's degree, and they don't compete with each other. Not that I am aware, because if I become aware, I have words. There are things that I'm going to say. But I've never heard either one of them. They just like, well, this is the family. This is what we're doing as a family. And she will outrank him by degree in a year. And none of it matters. So anywho, you guys, there it is, day 8. We are prepped for that. Please, please, please dig in. We are 1 week down, 33 more days to go. You can do this. I promise you, if you would just dig in, just 10 toes down, say, I'm not giving up on this challenge. I'm not giving up on my spouse. I'm not giving up on my marriage. And I'll tell you the same thing that Caleb's father told him in the movie. He said, if you'll just commit to 40 days, If your heart hasn't changed towards your spouse in 40 days, then you go through with whatever plan you had before these 40 days. But I want you to give it 40 good days, honestly. Some of you may have to go back and start over at day one. It's like the 75 medium, y'all. I didn't make it past the first, I made it to the first 3 days, but on the fourth, well, the fifth, I had church 4 hours away, and then I had to drive 4 hours back. I couldn't drink 100 ounces of water. So I lost it just on the water. But on the 6th, I started right back over. Today is the 11th. I'm 5 days in. I've already done my workout. I did my 45 minutes on the bike. I've done my reading, and I read this morning, and I'm getting ready to go read again. So listen, I'm 5 days in. I should be on day 11, but I had to start over. Some of us have to start over, and that's okay. Just be willing to learn. What are you willing to learn through the process? Because you're going to learn more about you than you're going to learn about your spouse. And so I'm encouraging you, dig in, turn your TV off, tell people, listen, for the next 40 days, I'm unavailable. Unless y'all want to do the study with me, because I'm unavailable. No, I cannot go out. No, I cannot do, no. In order to get a different result, you have to do something very different. There it is. You guys like the video for me. Share, subscribe to the channel. Do all the things. Follow me if you're on YouTube or Instagram. If you are on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, follow. If you're on Instagram, follow. Wherever you are, do all the things. But please don't give up on your marriages. I love you guys, and I'll see you again tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye now. Bye, everybody.